To everyone who's here, thank you so much again for being here with us today for the things to do prior to travel and how to get started at BSBI webinar. This is probably one of our last webinars for this year, and believe it or not, we're at the verge of yet another super exciting intake, and I have two people who will vouch for that. I know here with us today are students who are planning to go to Germany, to Berlin, or any of our other campuses, students who are starting online, or even thinking whether they should start with us in October. So before we go forward, let me just tell you, you absolutely don't want to miss the opportunity of starting now. The number of discounts that have been made available, the flexibility with installment plans, the multicultural experience that all of you have the opportunity to start with, and of course the availability of visas for students. It really is the best time for you to start with us right now. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, you know what, I'll start in Feb, maybe I'll start in May. Now, this is okay with us, but the kind of offers that we have available for you right now will most likely not be there next year. So if you're thinking of another intake other than October, then you most definitely want to get in touch with your program consultants or even your student support officers to see what your chances are and what's available for you during this particular intake. So before we move on, I just want to run a poll real quickly, and I have our fantastic person from marketing who's helping me from the back. I want to know how many of you are actually looking for a bachelor's or for a master's. So if you can see the poll, you should be able to see the poll right now. If you can just go ahead and click on what you are choosing for yourself. What are you looking at, a bachelor's degree or a master's degree? That would be great. Okay, wow, 50-50 as of now. That's excellent. So some of you, I mean, 50% of you for bachelor's degree and 50% of you for master's. Great, thank you for doing that for me. So it definitely helps us while we're talking to all of you. Today, what we're going to do is we're here to talk about the kind of support you get the minute you get to Berlin and some of the things that you need to keep in mind even before you get there. Christine, can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. Here is the agenda for today. I just want to quickly remind you the benefits of studying at BSBI. We're going to talk about the different types of student services that we have on offer, whether it's visa, the kind of student engagement we have, the events, accommodations, and also we're going to have a time for question and answers. So make sure that while you're listening to some of this information, if you have a question, please go ahead and post it, and we'd be happy to take it. At this time, I would like to take the opportunity of introducing my wonderful panelists, Catherine and Karimat. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen them. You know them. There they are waving at you. Catherine Flynn is the head of student services at BSBI. She comes with a great number of years of experience. She plays an extremely active role in ensuring that all of you who are on campus are kept safe and settled into life on campus. I know this is an extremely difficult, a busy time for you, Catherine, but thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today. I promise I won't bug you for the next 2 months, okay?
Well, good. It's always a pleasure to meet people as well as face to face.
Karimat Hassan-Amoo is the Accommodations Manager at BSBI. She's been with us from 2020, and she plays an extremely vital role in helping students like you find the best fit accommodation. She's someone all of you should ideally have already been in touch with or hope that you will get in touch with before you get to Berlin. So Karimat, thanks again for being with us. And it's so sweet that both of you are sharing the screen. I love it. And for those
why not?
It's the same, I know. And for those of you who are attending our webinars for the first time, I'm Sangeetha George, and I'm the Senior Manager for the Student Support Department. My team and I are here for you, and we are happy to help you with any questions or queries you might have prior to your travel. Okay, so before I hand it over to Catherine and Karimat to talk about the different services that are offered on campus, I just quickly want to remind you about the different benefits of studying at BSBI. First of all, it's centrally located. The BSBI campus is in the heart of Berlin. So you can't, I think everything is around and easily available for you. We do provide excellent student support in terms of academic tuition, small size classes, and there are industry experts and guest speaker presentations happening all the time. These are just to name a few, and I know that we also have flexible timetables that are available for students. We offer different types of free executive courses to BSBI students and also free German classes, which definitely all of you want to take advantage of. With regards to online resources, BSBI has integrated the virtual learning environment into the heart of its teaching and also the e-learning programs that are offered. In a little while, we will be talking about the extensive career services and also a little bit about the post-study German visa, which are all huge benefits, and also I've seen a great attraction to so many students who have decided to join BSBI. We're also offering programs on various campuses, so it's not just in Berlin that you have the opportunities to study. We have courses that are available in Hamburg with some terrific discounts and also in Athens and Paris. And if you need more information, please feel free to get in touch with us and we'd be happy to share it with you. Next slide, please, Christine. So these are the campuses, just for you to have a real quick look at what these different, and I've seen all of these campuses, they're beautiful on the inside. Hamburg's gorgeous, of course. Berlin, we all know. Athens and Paris, I've seen pictures, but it looks absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Next slide, please. So when you look at student services on campus in Berlin, there are various services that are offered. There's visa guidance and compliance, there's accommodation, pastoral care, student engagement and events, and of course, career services. At this point, I would like to invite Catherine to give us a little bit more details about the career services offered at BSBI. I know, Catherine, this is a big draw to students who are planning to study in Berlin. So would it be possible to give our audience a little bit more information about how we've been able to help and support our students in getting ready to apply for a job and also finding jobs once they come to Berlin? So over to you, Catherine.
So thank you very much, Sangeetha. So yeah, career services, a very popular thing with a lot of students. Majority of our students who arrive, about 75% of them, are interested in working in Germany, whether that's alongside their studies or doing an internship shortly after they graduate or staying in Germany for the long term. About 90% of our alumni so far have actually decided to stay in Germany for a bit longer to stay here to work. So it's a super popular option. The career service that we can offer you, so we can help support you, giving you the tools you need to help you find work, whether that's making sure you have the right mindset for looking for work, particularly if it's a new environment, a new market, you're not quite sure how to approach, job hunting in Germany. We also offer more like sort of practical based classes, so we'll do things like CV workshops, cover letters, which everybody hates, but once you know sort of the top tips to master it, it really does get much easier. Things like interview technique, how to find out what wage you should be paid over here, because they vary from country to country. You want to make sure you're getting the best possible wage. We also offer things like personal coaching appointments. So if you want some advice about where you can go with your career, particularly with the degree program that you're studying, or maybe you have a particular skill set that you want to utilize. Or maybe you have a very fixed idea. Okay, I know I want to go into this career path, but I'm not quite sure how to get that. Come and talk to us. We can do personalized coaching appointments for this kind of thing. We can also offer you appointments for things like specific cover letter feedback, CV feedback, interview, mock techniques, all sorts of different things. So that's some of the, I guess, more practical things that the career service can offer you. But in addition to this, we do also supplement that with things like company visits and company talks. Now, a lot of this has been online during the pandemic. However, we're very happy to say this is now shifting back towards also doing more campus events, which is super nice. And also, hopefully, in the near future, we'll be able to physically go to company offices again. So things are picking up, which is very, very nice to see. And we also have an online career centre that is available to all students. So the online career centre, it's a free tool for you to use as a student. It is exclusive to students, so members of the public can't access it. What you can find on the online career centre, so what you see on the screen right now, this is sort of the login page and the sign up page that you would go through. Once you get through there, you'll get access to the full portal. So you'll get access to our jobs board. Now, the jobs board is not just for Berlin, it's also for example, Hamburg, if you're interested in going to Hamburg. If you're interested generally in what Germany has to offer, if you're really looking for that experience where you find, okay, the right job for me is wherever it's going to take me, then you have the option to look for jobs across Germany. You also have the option to look for jobs across Europe, because we do have a lot of international postings on as well. So if you're really interested in, that global experience, you can also find international work on that. You'll also get invites for things like company events and our career workshops and things. All of this also is on the online career centre for you. So, if you're interested in finding out about, I don't know, what KPMG's recruitment methods are, or you want to know what Deutsche Bank can offer graduates, or what the recruitment scheme is like for Zalando, or whatever it may be. Different companies post their events for students to come and join them. And again, these are only exclusive to students and to graduates. So members of the general public don't get access to this information. So you get the opportunity to, meet people from the company, hear about what they're doing, what kind of graduates they like to recruit, what their plans are for the future. So you can see if this is maybe a company you're interested in applying with. You also get access to all of our tips and tricks, CVs, do's and don'ts, how to negotiate a salary, taxes in Germany, where do you get your tax number, even just super practical things like that. All of that information is here for you on the Online Career Centre. And you've also got myself and my colleague Jenny, who's recently joined us in the past month. So we're here to also help give you practical advice and guidance. You'll see us in a lot of the webinars, the workshops, career coaching appointments. You'll see a lot of us if you engage with the career service.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. So I have a question. So those who are deciding to start online right now, do they have, obviously they can't find jobs wherever, but they have access to all the tips and tricks and training tools and everything also, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're starting online because you need a bit of time for your visa to be processed, or something like that, it's totally understandable. We've had a lot of students in that same situation. So you still get all the access to all of our tools. Ditto any events and things that we're doing, we are trying to offer them hybrid as much as we can. Some we do exclusively online, so it doesn't matter where in the world you are, as long as you have an internet connection, you can come and join us. There's absolutely no problems whatsoever. It also with things like the coaching appointments. If you enroll with them, for example, the October intake or the Feb intake or whatever it may be, if you need more time for that visa to come through, but you are a student, we're more than happy to offer coaching via Zoom or Microsoft Teams or other platforms. There's no need that you would have to miss out at all.
That's perfect. So students, if you're kind of cynical or thinking, if I join online, I'm not going to have any of these kind of services, you're wrong. You have equal amount of access to all of these services that we've talked about, exactly like a student who's on campus. So don't feel like you're going to be missing out. You can, like Catherine said, you'll have those Zoom appointments and all of those trainings, and we can actually get you ready to start applying for a job when you come in, right?
Yeah, it's good. You can get all the groundwork laid, and then when you come to Germany, you can just hit the ground running.
Excellent. Okay, so Catherine, I'm going to give you a little bit of a break right now. I'll have you back on in a little bit. So I'm going to move on to Karimat. Karimat, finding the right accommodation is such an integral part of having a good study experience, I think, for any student around the world, right? Can you please let us know the different ways in which you and your team help students find accommodation, the different types of accommodation that are available, and the process for applying for it? So over to you, Karimat.
Thank you, Sangeetha, for the time. Hello, everyone. I'm Karimat. So we are here to help students to make accommodation process easy. So that when even before you arrive in Berlin, there is possibility of you securing an accommodation. So you be rest assured that when you're coming down to Berlin, there is a house for you to sleep on. You won't be sleeping on the street. There's also the privilege where some student will tell you, okay, I want like a short-term accommodation. When I get to Berlin myself, I want to see how the accommodation looks like, so I will be able to get what I want myself. So we have those options too. Basically, what we do like general accommodation service to students. We support students in terms of whatever accommodation they want, how to go through the process. We help students as well. If you have questions, you want to ask the accommodation partner, you feel like, well, I can speak German, I need somebody to help me to speak with my accommodation partner, my accommodation service provider. This we do as well to help students, just to give them that relief that we're there for you. You don't have to panic. We would help you out. Should you, in case you receive any letter from your accommodation provider as well, and you think, I don't understand what this letter says, it's all written in German, I feel like I need to do something, we're always here to help you. Anything that has to do with accommodation, don't worry, we're there to provide a solution to it. Then when we talk about the types of accommodation we render to students, we talk about the short-term accommodation and the long-term accommodation. The short-term accommodation is basically within 1 week to 3 months, depending on how much you want it. And we have the long-term accommodation starting from 3 months upward. Basically, students that are still abroad, we advise them to consider like a short-term accommodation, in the sense that if you've not gotten your visa, we don't want you to tie up your money somewhere. Maybe at the end of the day, there is a kind of delay in your visa. You couldn't get your visa as at when you plan to come to Berlin. So you won't just be paying while you're not here in Berlin. So we tell students they should consider like a short-term accommodation with like free cancellation policy, so that if there is any change of plan, you can cancel your accommodation. You don't pay penny for that booking. With this type of accommodation, you cannot do your handmade when you arrive here in Berlin because short period of time. Then we have the long-term accommodation whereby you book like 3 months, 3 months upward. This is the type of accommodation we advise students to book as soon as you have your visa. You're rest assured, I'm coming to Berlin. You've gotten your ticket. You know, the next thing to do is to come to Berlin. This accommodation will give you the privilege of having your handmade, which is the city registration. Every student coming to Berlin is a must. You must have a city registration. This is basically to show where you live here in Berlin, in case you want to get any letter from the Amt, from the city office, from the immigration office, or you decide to order something online. There should be a place where it would be sent to. So this is basically necessary because your admin don't depend on mostly everything you're doing here in Berlin. Talks about your health insurance, talks about your you want to open your block account, you want to have your resident permit. Basically, you need this. So we advise them to get a long-term accommodation whereby the landlord is going to give them like a confirmation that you're living here. These are the documents you need to take to the handmaiden office to get your registration certificate. We have series of partners that provide accommodation to our students. In fact, we have partners that provide discounts to our students. Being a BSBI student, you have some discounts on the service charge. We have some discounts on the first month's rent. All we just need to do is just to send us a message to accommodation@berlinsbi.com. If you need accommodation, tell us the type of accommodation you want. Is it short-term accommodation? Is it long-term accommodation? Even some student will send me a message and said, I want to do my visa processing, I need accommodation. So I need to explain to them and said, okay, since you don't have a visa yet, you need a short-term accommodation. Make use of this link. Please consider accommodation with free cancellation, so you'll be rest assured that you're not paying while you're not here in Berlin. So we have partners that we introduce to our students, which they can book this accommodation from. This is just to give the student a kind of rest of mind that they are dealing with the right person. They won't feel like, wow, I'm dealing with fraud or something like that. We have series of fraudulent acts there, but dealing with our partners give us and the student like a rest of mind that they are dealing with the right source. So we advise students to make use of the contact we share with them to make their booking for a secure, just to have like a security on their fund. So those are the things we do to help students in terms of accommodation. And when you are here in Berlin, you feel like, I'm already in an apartment, I don't like this apartment, I want to change my apartment, feel free, talk to us. We are there to help you throughout your study periods to get you accommodation here in Berlin.
Thank you, Karimat. So, Karimat, question for you. If there are students here who haven't applied for accommodation, what do you propose they do right now?
For students who doesn't have accommodation presently, if they are at the edge of applying for a visa, I would advise them to consider the short-term accommodation. They should send a message to accommodation@berlinsbi.com making this request. I have some list I'm going to send to the students to book from just for the visa processing phase. Then if the student has secured their visa and they feel like, I don't like the accommodation I book, or I want to stay in this accommodation, they still need to send a request to us. They fill up the form, they tell us what's the rent they want, the type of accommodation they want, the location they want. So this form would be what we'll be working on to provide information according to the information provided to us from in this form. So we would then give them the information on long-term accommodation. So there's a possibility of having a short-term accommodation and a long-term accommodation. The short-term accommodation is basically for you to arrive. You want to see how Berlin looks like, just for you to settle down, to acclimatize yourself. So after like two weeks or 1 month, you feel like, yeah, I need to move to a long-term accommodation. You already have your accommodation booked. So as soon as you are moving out of the short-term, you're moving to a long-term accommodation. So there is no bridge of you not having anywhere to stay.
Right, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Karimat. So students, if you are thinking of joining the October intake, please make sure that you get in touch with Karimat as soon as possible. Karimat, would it be possible for you to just put down your email address in the chat box for all for the entire audience? So just in case they need your email address, I'm hoping that students who haven't connected with you till now will do so as soon as we finish this. All right, so what we want to do is, audience, we want to let you know a little bit about the visa services that we offer. So Catherine, would it be possible for you to tell us a little bit about the different visa related services that you and your department offer, and also about some of the student engagement and events that you've had on campus?
Sure. I'll tackle visa first. I know that's kind of the big question. It's super important for a lot of students when they join us. So when you have your appointment with the German embassy in your home country, you'll get what they call an entry visa. So this very much does what it says on the tin. It gets you entry into Germany, but it's usually a short-term visa. On average, it's between 3 months, possibly 12 months at the most. With the pandemic, they've been issuing slightly longer ones. We've seen more around 12 months, but it could be anywhere in between 3 to 12. So this won't cover your entire course duration. So if you're looking at a postgraduate course, your course is going to be 18 months long. If you're looking at a bachelor course, you're looking at 3 years. Sorry, I'm on a webcam. And if you're looking at what we call an international route, a foundation course, you're looking at 4 years for your course. So your entry visa only covers a small amount of that time. So once you've arrived in Germany, you've got yourself set up, you've settled in, you've got your accommodation, you've got some of the German paperwork under your belt. So this Anmeldung document, this city registration, for example, that Karimat mentioned earlier, things like your health insurance, getting matriculation letters and all this fun stuff. Once you've got all of that together, you need to convert your entry visa into a residency permit. This is often called a visa extension by a lot of students. You're essentially extending that entry visa. So you do this with an authority called the Landesamt für Einwanderung in German. We just call it LEA, L-E-A. So the LEA is essentially the Berlin Immigration Office. This is the office that will decide on the extension of your visa. So visa support that we offer with that. We can give you full support on all of the documents that you're going to need for that visa extension. We can walk you through the process. We can even tell you how to book an appointment with them. Something else we can offer you, we do have a partnership with an immigration law firm here in Berlin. They're called SERS, S-E-R-S. As a BSBI student with an entry visa, if you're coming to Berlin, SERS can help you also converting your student entry visa into a student residency permit. How this works essentially is that you would be created an account on SERS login platform. So you log in and you upload the documents needed to extend your visa. So things like the Anmeldung, like your health insurance, like your matriculation letter, all of the document lists that we give you. Once you've done that, you'll get an email from the lawyer, you know, hi, Mr. XYZ. We thank you for your documents. We've confirmed receipt of them. We are now applying for your visa. So you don't have to deal with the German side of things, essentially. You don't need to be booking the appointments. You don't have to talk to the authorities. The lawyer takes care of all of this for you. It's a completely free service for BSBI students with an entry visa. She can also assist you with this Anmeldung, this city registration process that you have with your accommodation. So they can help you with the booking of appointments and again, all the German side of things. You can also have a free legal consultation of up to 20 minutes with the immigration lawyer. So if you do have questions, for example, maybe you have a partner, a spouse in your home country that you would like to be able to come to Germany, you want to know how that process works here, you can talk about that with a qualified immigration lawyer who can give you the best advice. So that's one option. So you can take the services of the lawyer if you wish. If not, we're happy to guide you through the process as well. So that's sort of the core support that you're going to get from us in the beginning when you arrive here, helping you to get set up to know, okay, how do I get my long-term visa that will cover the duration of my course? From there, any questions you have after you've gotten your residency permit, so your visa extension, again, you can still always come and have a talk with us. So if you are interested in staying in Germany after your studies, maybe you want to continue working, maybe you want to do another higher level degree, so if you do a bachelor and you maybe want to do a master and you're not sure how this works with the visa process, do come and talk to us. We can give you post-study visa advice as well to help guide you through that. What documents do you need? Where do you book the appointment? All of that fun stuff. We're here to support you through the whole thing. So as you can see on the current slide, if you do want to use the SIRS immigration support, so this is the lawyer service that we offer, it's fairly straightforward. There's a consent form that you would need to sign once you arrive in Berlin. We share that with the lawyer. You get set up with an account. The sooner you upload the documents, the sooner the lawyer can apply for a new visa for you. One thing I do need to make very, very clear though, SIRS can only assist with visa applications within Berlin. She's a very good lawyer, but she can't communicate with every single embassy across the world. She's good, but she's not that good. So it's very much for processes within Berlin. So once you get your visa, you've come to Germany, you've got your accommodation, you're all set up, let us know, we can get you set up with this lawyer for this free service, and then you can get rolling, you have your entry visa converted, and then you're done with all your paperwork, you can just settle in, enjoy being here in Berlin, and enjoy the rest of your studies.
Awesome. You make it sound so simple, Catherine. Both of you do. And I'm sure
sounds like a lot when you first get here, but
yeah.
honestly, like, there are no dumb questions when it comes to this. Like, we know it's a lot, and we know it's confusing. We've been through it loads of times.
And I think it's so awesome that students can get to hear from both of you, put a face to maybe emails that you'll have sent out or, you know, whatever, and then they know who you are, so that, you know, I just think it makes the transition so much more easier.
Yeah.
Christine, can you go to the slide before? And Catherine, can you just really touch on block bank account and health insurance also, please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Block bank account, a lot of you probably have already heard of this for your visa applications. Essentially, your block bank account is proof of finances. So to say that you have some money to support yourself whilst you get started here in Germany. The amount you need for the block bank account for your visa application in your home country is 10,332 euros. This money is not meant to be used for tuition fee or anything like that. This is for your living costs. So things like paying your accommodation, your rent, paying things like your health insurance, for, you know, just generally going out, enjoying the city, having a good time with your friends, things like that, having a life. So they have that plan so that each month you would get a released amount of funds to your normal current account so that you have money to sustain you for at least 1 year here. There are lots of different services that you can use to provide a block bank account. We've partnered with Fintiba and also with Expatrio, who are both digital relocation experts. So they help international students, but as well as expats, people moving for work, things like that. You can also use companies like Coracle, Kotak Mahindra. They're also very popular with many of our students. This essentially is your financial proof for the authorities to say, yes, I am committed to my studies in Berlin, I've saved the money for it, this is what I have to live off of. If you have more than 10,332 euros, obviously no one's going to be unhappy about that. The authorities will be most pleased. And then once you come to Germany, to be able to get access to that money from your block bank account, you need to open a German account. Once you've done that, you've opened one with a bank here, you share the account details with your block bank account provider, and then every month they'll transfer a set amount of money to you, around 800 to 850 euros per month, to help cover some of your maintenance and living costs. So that's a very important phase. If you go on our website on berlinsbi.com, under the international sort of student section, you will find links to Fintiba and Expatrio, who can both help you with the block bank account. Both of these partners can also help you with health insurance. Now, health insurance can sound a bit confusing when you first get here, and I can relate to that a lot because I'm actually from Britain. I'm not a native German, and we don't have health insurance in Britain. So when I got here, this was super confusing for me. Essentially, you need insurance to access medical services here, and this is something that every single person in Germany has to have, whether they were born and bred here in Germany or it's an international student moving. We all need health insurance. Now, there are two types of health insurance in Germany. The first one, most common one, is called public health insurance. Essentially, this is regulated by the government, so the prices don't really vary from different providers, and they have to provide you with the same amount of services. So if you have, I don't know, a problem with your appendix, you need to go to the hospital immediately, it's all covered, you'll never see a bill for this. If you just need to, you've got a bit of a cough and a cold or the flu, you need to go to the doctor, you never pay anything for it. You need a bit of dental work done, it's all paid for, it's all there. So it's all covered by the public health insurance scheme. So this costs on average around 110 euros per month for international students. Students get a bit of a discounted rate than, say, people who are employed. We have to pay slightly more. So students get it slightly better. The other type of health insurance is called private health insurance. Private health insurance is normally for students who are over the age of 30, so over 30, because over 30 you're considered a mature student here in Germany. So you really like education and you've decided to continue. Or potentially if you're studying with CUC, because they're an American university, they operate on the private health insurance section. Private health insurance also can cover an awful lot of things, but the policy can vary a little bit more from company to company. Some will offer just the basics for a lower price. Some will offer a bit more coverage for a slightly more expensive price. If you have anything like a pre-existing health condition, maybe you need to regularly take medication, or you need treatment, you need to see the doctor, get tests, anything like that, we do advise you first talk with the private health insurance provider whether they cover those services before you sign any paperwork, okay? Just to make sure you don't end up paying more than you need to for health insurance services. So once you have your health insurance, essentially you get like a little card. It's almost like a little credit card. It's got like a little chip in it with your photo. Whenever you need to go to the doctor, you can just go to any doctor, you hand over that card, and then the bill is sent directly to your health insurance provider. So nothing comes to your home. You don't need to worry about it. It's already taken care of. So that's health insurance. It is a big topic. We know it's confusing. If you do have any questions about it, you're more than welcome to get in touch with us in our visa guidance service. This is something we're more than happy to guide students through. We do also have a partnership with the third largest health insurance provider in Germany. They're called DAK. They've designed a special English language form for our students. We've got a dedicated contact person there. His name is Mr. Shad. He is an absolute gem. He's super quick on answering emails as well. So he's there to support our students with any questions they might have. He's also been very supportive with our graduates once they finish their studies and then they move into working and their type of insurance needs to change a little bit. He's also supported them through all of that. So you're not alone. If it does seem a bit confusing or a bit scary, don't worry about it. It's fine. Get in touch with us and we're more than happy to go through it at your pace.
Thanks so much, Catherine. A question about block bank and health insurance. I know block bank they need to have before they get to Berlin, right? They need for visa. But is it the same with health insurance? Do they need to have health insurance before they come into the country?
Good question. For your visa appointment with the German embassy, travel insurance is usually considered sufficient. However, if you already have German health insurance organized that will activate when you come to Germany, the embassy is very, very happy to see this level of organization. So you can organize it in advance through companies like Fintiba, like Expatrio, so that once you come to Germany, you can activate it and then you start it. But if you're already in your home country, you don't need to have German health insurance just yet. You're not paying for the service, but it will need to activate upon your arrival in Germany. So once you get here, then it's super important. If you have travel health insurance, that's enough to get the visa and to get you to Germany, but then you need to switch to German insurance pretty quickly once you're here, but it's not too bad. Like I said, we can walk you through it.
That's awesome. All right. Is there an email address for you too, or for the visa services that you can just put down? I'm sure. One of the many that you have. So students, I hope you have all the information that you need with regards to finding jobs, accommodation, and visa services. Please go ahead and post your questions if you have any with regards to any of these things that we've talked about. For those of you who are thinking of joining in Feb, I'm still urging you to please get in touch with your program consultant or student support officer. They will be more than happy to give you the details on all the various discounts and offers that are there right now. And like I said earlier, these most likely will not be available for intakes next year. Before we go into the Q&A, Catherine, you want to really quickly talk about, because it's a fun slide.
So I got so interested in block bank accounts and health insurance, I forgot about this.
Passionate about block bank accounts. Yeah.
One of the nice things about being a student is you get to connect and meet other students. You get to make whole new friends, people you might end up knowing for your whole life and things like that. So we do try and also, facilitate a certain amount of engagement and a bit more fun. It shouldn't be, all study, all work, and no play. And we do try to combine the two sometimes. So the student council here is super active in organising lots of events. So for example, this Friday, they're holding their Halloween costume party here on the campus, which would be quite nice. It'll be the first big campus party we've had in a while. So we're very excited about that. But they do things like freshers events. They do things for Christmas, summer party, barbecue, that sort of thing. So they get very engaged, and it's a much more relaxed way that you can meet other BSBI students from outside of your course. And then we also do some more events to, again, try and help network a little bit with students, get you connected to some different companies or some side projects that you can also put on your CV. So various companies that we've gone and visited, for example, we went to see Facebook just before the pandemic, who were super nice and welcoming, really nice office, actually about 15 minutes away from where we are here in Berlin. So they came through, they talked our students through some of the big developments that were happening at Facebook, what their recruitment policy was, how they look for graduates. Really, really nice. We've also gone to talk to companies like Delivery Hero, which is one of the top rated companies in Berlin. We've had talks from companies like Zen Jobs. We're doing one with Zalando also in December, which is going to be super exciting. They're one of the big startup success stories here in Berlin and one of the big fashion giants now in Europe. So that's really nice. We do lots of engagement for things like that. And there'll also sometimes be things like project-based work. So for example, Red Bull, we had a project running with them for a while where students would work on innovative ideas as part of a competition. And then they would go to Vienna to be able to pitch and prepare them. So there are lots of different initiatives and things that we run. If you're an actively engaged student, you're doing well in your classes, your options really are open for you. You can get involved with this stuff. You can make those connections. You can come on company trips. You can meet different people. You can also then take the opportunity to relax a little bit more outside of your studies and do things like Halloween contests, student council, pub quizzes, or whatever it may be. So we do try and offer a bit of a blend so that you're not always, having to hit the books all the time. You get to have a little bit more social interaction and a little bit more fun as well.
Absolutely. I always share this story, and I don't know if I've shared it with both of you before, but when I joined BSBI, it was during the lockdown, and your student council had a freshers party on Zoom. right?
Did,
And they had, and I watched the entire thing because they were having so much fun. Students all over the world, never met each other, but everyone, so I can't even imagine how much more engaging it is on campus and all of these events. But I was shocked at how engaged everyone was, even though it was on Zoom and the first time that they were meeting.
The council did an amazing job when the pandemic hit, and we sort of had to shift over that. They were like, right, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to do speed friending, and we're going to, like, they were on
you
it.
could make out they were having the best time ever, just, you know, sitting and laughing at their own jokes, and it was funny, you know, it was so fun to watch. But so it's super exciting. Students, there's lots of these kind of events that are now happening on campus. That's the good news. I know a lot of you are waiting for your visas. Don't be dismayed. It's coming through. We know a lot of places, they're opening up for visa appointments right now. They're granting it quite easily. So I know there are some questions about it that I'm happy to take and follow up with you post the webinar. Just before we move on to the Q&A, I have two things that I want to do. One, Catherine and Karimat, anything you want to share with the students or anything that you want them to keep in mind prior to travel?
Yes, Berlin winters. Pack good clothes. Having a good coat, scarf, hat, gloves, very advisable. It's a windy city, and in the winter it can be a bit of a shock, particularly if you're coming from a slightly warmer country. So yes, pack thoughtfully. Vacuum bags are your friend. It helps with the weight of that as well.
That's a great layering, students. It's all about how you layer, right? Isn't that what you guys call it? It's about layering. Yes. Thank you.
I would tell students that they should be well prepared in terms of accommodation. They should have somewhere they would be staying before coming to Berlin. It shouldn't be, I'm at the airport, I don't have anybody to pick me up, I don't know where I'm going. We try as much as possible to help our students, but they should as well be prepared to help themselves by getting accommodation booked. No matter how short the days are, at least just to cover you for the first time coming to a country which you don't have any family, you don't have anybody to help you. That will give us a kind of relief to give you more support and more help you need in future.
Planning is your friend. Definitely. Research some more.
And maybe learn 1 or 2 German words, important German words.
Hello. Maybe I'll give it today. It's free. Hello. It means just saying hello.
That's great. Thank you, both of you. That's great advice. Okay, I'm just going to run a poll now, just for curiosity's sake. Christine, if you could help me. I just want to know which intake all of you are looking at. I know there's quite a few of you here, whether you're looking at the October intake, which is starting now, the Feb intake, or the May intake. This helps us when we get back in touch with you with regards to how we can support you. Okay, so I'm just looking, wow, a lot of you looking for the October 2021 intake. That's amazing. I don't know if you guys can see, Catherine, can you see the scores?
We can see the questions. We can't see what people are clicking.
You can see the question. Okay, there's more than 90% joining the October 2021 intake. You'll get to see a lot of these students in about less than a month, I'm guessing.
Then booking those visa appointments.
Absolutely. 3% for Feb and 6% for May. That's fantastic. The ones for the 3% and the 6%, if you are thinking now you want to come in October, it's not too late. We're here to help you through that. So you have email addresses to get in touch with Catherine and with Karimat. We're here to support you in whatever way that you want. Okay, I'll just take some of these questions if that's okay with you, Catherine and Karimat. Yeah. Okay. So I want to know about the appointment before visa. Actually, I didn't receive one letter which is given by BSBI. If it's an admissions letter, this is Gaganpreet. You can get in touch with me. I'm going to put my email address down here. You can get in touch with me and I'll get you whatever letter that you want. I don't think there's anything from Catherine or Karimat that you necessarily need before, right? You all don't provide any documents.
We'll give the documents after you complete your enrollment. If you need documents then we're your people. If you need them prior to your enrollment, Sangeetha's the person for you.
Yes, absolutely. I'll put my email address down in a little bit. There's Harshita who's saying, I've already applied for the Global MBA course for this October intake and I paid 2,000 euros. As of now, I'm waiting for my visa. I think, Harshita, I do recommend that you start online also. And then once you get your visa, then they can move there. Right, Catherine?
Yeah, we've got quite a few students. Global MBAs are probably our most popular program. So we do have quite a few students in a similar situation to you. You can start your course online so that you don't miss out on any of the lessons because they're just beginning now. You can start online, and then when the visa appointment happens, we can provide you documentation that says, yes, he or she is currently studying online with us, but they need to come to Germany. You get your visa, and then once you come to Germany, then you can switch to doing face-to-face classes. It's not a problem. A lot of students have been in that situation, so the flexibility is there if you need it.
And Harshita, I think I can confidently say that if you start online and you get a letter from BSBI saying you started online, your chances of getting your visa is much higher because you've already started. So unless there's something really peculiar with your application or finances or anything, I don't think that they would necessarily reject, right, Catherine?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of students. It's definitely picked up. The embassies are working their butts off at the moment.
Yes,
we're seeing a
they
lot
are.
of students
Absolutely.
now. They're processing them much quicker than they were earlier in the year and things. So it's definitely picked up speed. And students who've started online have generally gotten their visas through pretty quickly.
She also had a question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but she wanted to know if there's any scholarships from the German government.
From the German government, I mean, there are various different things. Sometimes it can depend on things like nationality and things like that. So I'm not 100% sure. It would very much depend on your case. BSBI does offer some scholarships, though. We do have a pre-enrollment scholarship that your advisor can walk you through. And we also have what we call a post-enrollment scholarship. So one's for before you officially start as a student, and the other is for when you've already started as a student. For the post-enrollment scholarship, there's an application form that you can download. You would have to complete your first term of study. You would need to have good grades, good attendance. So attendance would have to be over 80%. As long as you're passing things and passing well, actively participating in classes and things, you can apply for the post-enrollment scholarship too. There's no limit on how many scholarships they give out. So if they get a lot of applications, they get a lot of applications. As long as you meet the criteria, you're absolutely in line to get a potential post-enrollment scholarship from BSBI as well. For the pre-enrollment, you can contact your student advisor and they can give you more details about how you can apply for that as well to potentially get a scholarship before you come to Germany. You can also have a pre-enrollment scholarship and later apply for a post-enrollment scholarship. There's no limit on what you can apply for.
Great. Hans, I hope that answers your question too, because he's asking if we have scholarships for bachelor's degrees, and we do, but you know, it just depends on your academic transcripts. There's various kinds of scholarships that are on offer, so we'll just have to definitely get in touch with your program consultant or your student support officer, and they tell you what you're eligible for. Rahul, so Rahul's written, I don't know if you can see these questions, but he's talking about, he's talking about how he's applied to New Delhi for his visa. He hasn't heard for 2.5 months. He wants to come in October. He's getting a little antsy. Rahul, I have your QID. I do have a visa officer who can get in touch with you soon after we finish this in about 10-15 minutes, and then hopefully he'll be able to follow up for you and find out what's happening with your application. So just don't get anxious. We will try and help you as much as we can in order to follow up with, and we've been doing that for students who've applied to Delhi actually. So there's a student saying, how do we get free legal services before arriving at Berlin?
And the free legal support, so it's SERS, S-E-R-S, that kicks in once you arrive in Germany. We're more than happy to give you the info, but the lawyer can't make any applications for German embassies in other countries or anything like that. This is purely for your residency permit, so your visa extension. So that happens once you arrive in Berlin. before Berlin, I'm afraid it's not available.
Okay, all right. Hans, you can get in touch with us and we'd be happy to help you. We have visa specialists who can give you any kind of guidance that you need. It's not necessarily legal services, but we can check your documents and your motivation letter and things like that if you need assistance with that. And I've put my email address down. So if you need any help with that, we're happy to help you. There's a student here saying that he arrived in Germany on the 5th of this month, Catherine, but he doesn't know when his classes are starting, his global MBA for the October batch, and his final registration is on the 3rd of November. Do you know if an email, can you guide him with that?
Yeah, sure. I would need his student ID number just to double check all of the details. So if he's already registered online, his classes should be beginning within the next week or so.
Right.
For questions about the academic timetable, he can get in touch with admin@berlinsbi.com to get a copy of when those classes will begin. And he'll be told whether they're on campus, online, a mix of the two. So he can get in touch with them. But if you can ping me over his student ID number, I can double check precisely what's going on with
He's given it actually. Yeah, he's given it to me. Should I give it to you right now or later?
Yeah.
Yeah. Q1024781.
4781. Okay. After the call, I'll check in on your profile in our system and I'll get you set up with the right department who can get you your timetable to you.
Perfect. His name is Kalharam Atul Raj, just in case you want that too. There's a question about insurance. There's a student who's asking, what if I'm traveling in the coming month and just after 2 months will be 30 years old? Which insurance should I opt for, public or private? Ooh.
Yeah, it's a good question. A couple of students, yeah, they do 1030 whilst they're studying. In that case, private health insurance probably makes the most sense for you. It would be acceptable for getting in there 2 months early to go for the private. It shouldn't be a problem for you.
Okay, great. I hope that answers your question. Rashid, if you are wanting help with a mock interview before your visa interview, please do get in touch with us. I've put my email address down and I will get someone to get in touch with you and do that for you before your final interview, no problem at all. There's Nana who's asking, should I apply for a short stay visa and later extend or apply for a long term?
I believe you would need to apply for a student visa, which is a long-term visa.
Yes,
if I'm not,
it's student. Yeah, Nana, that's what you need to be applying for. Okay, long-term, which is also called a student visa. Please, can we get Catherine and okay, their email addresses are here already. Michael, it's in the chat box. So if you look there, you guys are on demand. So everyone wants to be in touch with you. So just make sure, just look at the chat, Michael, and you'll get their email addresses. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm just reading through these questions.
No worries, take so.
I'm a Nigerian student and currently studying in Spain, but I've decided to study in Germany. Will there be a conflict of immigration? So basically, it's someone who just wants.
If you have a residency permit already for Spain, you will be able to travel to Germany. You'll have up to 90 days to then convert to a German visa. If you only have an entry visa for Spain, that doesn't necessarily entitle you to come to Germany, to the best of my knowledge, and you would need to reach out to the German embassy in Spain and see how they go. So I guess it depends on how long you've been in Spain and what type of visa that you have. But if you have a residency permit from another EU country, you have the option of coming to Germany and converting to a German visa directly whilst you're here. Now that is still obviously subject to you having the right documents and paperwork and all that fun stuff. But you would have the option of traveling to Germany if you have the residency permit already. If it's the entry visa, get in touch with the German embassy in wherever you located in Spain and get their advice would be what we would recommend.
There's Salma who wanted to check about the semester ticket. Catherine, do you know what that is? Okay.
So this is a public transportation ticket. The semester ticket is usually something offered by the German public universities. Now, BSBI is a private institute, so I'm afraid the semester ticket is not something that we can offer. However, this doesn't mean that you have no options of getting discounted travel. You absolutely do. There are subscription services that you can take. So, for example, if you have a 1-year subscription service, you can get about 25 to 30% off of the general ticket price that most people have. So you can still save money by this way. We call this an ABO, A-B-O. You can get this from the 2 local transport authorities. One is called the BVG. This is like the Berlin Transportation Network. And one called the VBB, which covers Berlin and Brandenburg. The BVG is usually sufficient for most students. So you can get an ABO ticket and you will still get discounted travel prices so that you don't have to pay as much.
Okay. You said the class schedules, once they register, they should be starting to receive emails about it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So once you register and you're all set up, you'll be put into your classes directly, and then you'll receive a copy of your timetable from the program coordination team. Essentially, they handle all the academic administration of your course.
So Rashid, if you have registered, I know you're saying you've enrolled, but I want to make sure that you've registered. I have your name down. Once you do that, then you will start to get your class schedules and when your classes are going to start, okay? Edwin wanted to know the link or website in opening the Blockbank account. Can you just go onto our website?
Yeah, I think it's on our website. If you go to international students, you'll find interesting various different links in there that you can find for Blockbank accounts, so Fintiba and Expatriate are the 2 that we work with. So you can access it there. There's also a direct link so that you can open up directly built into the web page.
Great. Vasco, you were asking about if we can help with for you opening the Blockbank. My team will be happy to walk you through the steps of what you need to do. So if you can get in touch with your student support officer, they would be happy to help you through that process. Okay. Daniel, you said that you filled your visa application online in August, but you haven't heard or called back for your visa. It depends where you are, Daniel, and if the embassy is open. So if you can let me know which country you're applying from, then I can give you some sort of, I may not be able to get in touch with them fully, but at least I can give you some sort of updates with regards to visas and appointments, okay? For the Blockbank account, does it have to be in the student's name, Catherine?
Yes, it should be.
Kingston, there's your answer. Okay.
Sure.
Short and sweet, yes. When we apply for a visa, how many months should we have the health insurance for? Is a question.
You need health insurance for however long you're going to be in Germany. So if you're intending to be here for your course, if you're a postgrad, it should be 18 months. If you're a bachelor, 3 years. If you're a bachelor foundation student, 4 years. If you intend to stay in Germany a little bit longer, you'll need to then extend your health insurance. It's a mandatory requirement by law for every single person who's in Germany to have health insurance. So you can basically plan anytime you're in Germany, health insurance is needed.
Awesome. Okay. There's a question about accommodation. Accommodation in Berlin is quite expensive. Is it possible to get accommodation at a cheaper price and a little closer to the college, like walking distance?
Of course, there are accommodation like walking distance to the school, but the closer you are to the city center, students should have it at the back of your mind that the higher the prices.
Yeah.
If the student is willing to share his or her apartment with other students, the price tends to be a bit lower. So depending on what the student wants, if you want to share your apartment with someone, you should be looking for accommodation between €400. If you don't want to share accommodation with someone, you want to live on your own, your private room, you should be looking for accommodation from €500 upward. And if you want like a studio apartment in Berlin, you should be considering from $650 upward for a studio apartment in Berlin.
Okay. I hope that answers your question.
But I'm afraid that does mean it's a bit more expensive there.
Is there a bank in Germany that can offer a loan for Blockbank account?
A loan for block bank account. To the best of my knowledge, no.
But Jennifer, if you're here in India, I'm not sure where you are, there are banks, actually we can help you with that, because BSBI has tied up with some banks that will offer you an educational loan that will also help with block bank account. So get in touch with me and then I can help you with that. A lot of the questions about, I think people are just really antsy about not hearing back about their visas. Mohammed, for example, Mohammed said that he's got an unconditional admissions letter for October intake. He's got an appointment for the German embassy 26th November. Wants to know whether he can join the October intake or should he move to Feb. I think you can join. Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong. Join Mohammed, October intake online. Finish your visa. We'll give you a letter saying that you've started with us. Finish your visa appointment 26 November, and then you can go to Germany and then hopefully start on campus soon. Right?
Yeah,
Catherine?
Yeah, that should be no problem at all. I mean, it's not your fault they couldn't offer you a sooner appointment, expecting you to shift your whole life basically around that. Not entirely reasonable at this point in time. So no, it's fine. You can start online. Once you get the visa, then you can come here and you'll switch to face-to-face teaching. But online studies are absolutely an option for you. It's, as long as you've got a good internet connection, you can join your classes, you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Dikshya, she's asking how to activate the block bank account after we move to Berlin, but it's you started before. Yeah, go for it. Catherine.
Yeah, so essentially what you'll need to do is to open up a German current account, so like a normal sort of savings account. You can do that with lots of different banks here. A particularly popular one for a lot of students is Deutsche Bank. They're very good at working. They're very used to having the international students and getting the block bank account thing kind of set up. So they're particularly good at it, but there are a range of banks. You can use Sparkasse, Commerzbank, N26. If you want a list of banks, we are more than happy to provide you with that. We have many different things like this. But essentially you open up the student current account. And then once you've opened that, you'll be able to share the IBAN, so the international banking number, and the BIC. This is essentially like your sort code or your SWIFT code, sometimes this is called. You share that with your block bank account provider, and then they set up the monthly transfer of money. So the first thing is to organize a German current account, a student account, and then once you've got that set up, you can get the payments directed in on a monthly basis. The sooner you have things like your Anmeldung set up and your visa set up, once that happens, it is much quicker and easier. So as much preparation as you can do in advance. So things like the health insurance, researching banks, getting your accommodation sorted, it does make this entire process much easier. So like we said, planning and researching your finance.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to end because I know questions are still coming up. Students, you have both Catherine and Karimat's email address. We've put it down. Jennifer, my email address is also down. It's info@berlinsbi.com. So get in touch with me if you have anything. A lot of you waiting to hear back about your visas. Let me see what we can try and how we can help you with regards to that. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. We're here once again, I'm saying it and reminding you, we're here to help you and to support you. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We want to make sure that this transition from your home country to Berlin is as smooth as possible. Catherine and Karimat, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you so much for your support. These students are so lucky to have both of you and your teams on campus to welcome them when they arrive there shortly. So thank you for being here today. All the best, everyone. We look forward to seeing you all on campus very, very soon. Stay safe and all the best to all of you. Thank you. Have a great evening.
To see.
Bye. Bye.